Hey guys, it's your rolling MC, and this is Hitting the Streets podcast. Today on the show, I have my dear friend Shalonda Hearns, who is owner of Impact Central. This time, I decided to do something different. This is going to be a two-part series video. It is going to be uploaded on Hitting the Streets podcast YouTube as well on Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. I hope you guys tune in. It is once again a two-part episode, and I hope you guys enjoy what we are discussing. It's real conversation, y'all. Real conversation about real life. The title of this episode is Face It Until You Can Make It. Hey guys, it's Shell, your rolling MC, and this is my first time doing a Zoom video call for my episode. Wow. So I am stepping out of the box, you guys. And I have on the show today is Miss Shalonda Hearns. Shalonda and I go way back, and she is the owner of Impact Central. And right now, I'm just going to turn this over to her and have her introduce herself. So Shalonda, please introduce yourself.
Well, hi, everyone. My name is Shalonda Hearn, and I am like Shell said, I am the owner of Impact Central. I'm a certified life coach. I'm also a licensed minister, and I'm also a lay counselor for ministry. So I currently function in multiple ways in supporting mostly women. I do support women in providing counseling services from a life coaching standpoint, mostly focusing in the area of relationships and spiritual development.
Well, I did not know about the last part. When did that happen, or did you do that all at once? The lay part.
So I actually became a licensed and certified lay counselor before I became a life coach, and that's through the American Association of Christian Counselors. So I did that through the Potter's House Church several years ago. Yes.
Wow. Okay, guys. So long time ago days.
Yes.
Shalonda and I worked together at a recruiting firm. That's where we met. And we just connected. Shalonda probably didn't want to really connect with me because I was a wild child. As a matter of fact, I was a wild child. I'm still a wild child. But she brought so much balance to our team. And we just learned a lot from her, and she gave a lot from her. And because we connected, her and I and several other people that we're still friends with, I have been following her journey for a very long time. And I have to tell you, I'm very proud of you being in the position that you're in right now. I know that was hard work, right?
Definitely. It was the certification classes are pretty strenuous, and especially even with the ministerial classes, like it's intense. So it was definitely hard work spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. So
how long did that take you? How long did
so
you
the
work?
combination, the ministerial course took a year, and well, the ministerial course took 2 years, and then the lay counselor took a year, and then the certification took about 6 months for my life coach. So it was, yeah.
You know, we went through so much 16, 17 years ago. How long ago? That was, girl, I know, right? It's been a while.
Yes.
At least 15. Yes. I'm going to say 15, at least that. And Shalonda was just like always our sounding board with a lot of different things, kept a lot of the team grounded. We leaned on her for reassurance and confidence and for prayer and for faith and a lot of different things that we did. One of the things that I really enjoy was Sevenfold Society, and I'm bringing that up because we did so much for women and the connection of women and the empowerment of women. I'm pretty sure you doing Sevenfold Society was a big piece of this, a big piece of what you're doing now.
Yes, it's exactly why I am where I am, because with Sevenfold Society, it was my personal journey, me wanting to help other people because of where I came from. So Sevenfold Society was just birthed from that point. And so then my exposure to helping women through a nonprofit of Sevenfold Society later became more insightful for me to recognize my gifts.
Yeah.
And that's how I tapped into becoming a minister and then eventually a life coach. So it all played a significant part. It was just like a stepping stone, basically.
How do you do that though? One of the questions that I'm just curious about, you said you talk about ministry and you talk about life coach. And how do you manage that? It's, you have a lot of people that need the life coaching and sometimes is really not interested in the faith based stuff. How do you manage that?
So for me, even though I am a Christian and I'm a
Uh-huh.
believer and I'm strongly faith based, that is not something that I push on anyone. As a matter of fact, a lot of things that I learned about and that I went through was long before I even surrendered my life to Christ. So me sharing my journey with individuals and letting them know that I'm a human being before
Hmm.
anything.
Yes.
Foundationally, I'm a human being and I go through stuff just like anybody else. So the fact that I'm a Christian doesn't make me any less of, and doesn't give, it also actually helps me to come from a place of where I'm not judging you, actually,
Hmm.
because I don't have to judge you because I'm a human being. I've been through it too. So
Right,
I
right,
think my
right.
approach is just more about being a human being rather than trying to push Bible or anything on anybody.
And then giving that human experience, you make that human connection and then you make those relationships and you build those relationships. And to me, honestly, I think that is the best way to connect because people want to be heard and not judged. You know what I
Right,
mean? And
right,
that's so important nowadays. Okay, guys.
right.
So I have some talking points here. And we're going to have another guest come on. So unfortunately, she couldn't make it. So this is going to be a two-part series. And so this right here, we're just going to talk about the subject matter. And then the second episode that I'm going to do with this will have special guests. And then we'll have a bigger conversation than what we're going to have tonight. However, Shalonda did send me some information and I'm going to read over a talking point. Now, the title of this is "Fake It Till You Make It." We're talking about the strong women that we know, or the strong women in us, the strong friend, different things like that, and how the mentality of those who are having problems and that just go through the days, especially people like me. It's hard to be vulnerable. And so she's got some talking points, and then I'm going to let her take over. And one of the ones that we talked about is, if I'm not mistaken, we kind of talked about this when we was at Manny's, was to embrace our true self and find freedom in acknowledging who we truly are. So let's talk a little bit about that, Shalonda. What do you mean by embracing yourself and acknowledging who you truly are?
So in terms of vulnerability, I want to start with a couple of definitions. I'm really keen on words and definitions, and so I like to share context. But when I think about vulnerability, I'm reading.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
There is a definition that is probably what most people are more familiar with and they more connect with and they tend to lean on the most. But that definition of vulnerability is being susceptible to physical or emotional attack or harm.
Mm-hmm.
And typically, when not just women, people in general, when they even consider being vulnerable, especially that strong woman or that strong man, you tend to think that, I don't want to be taken advantage of. I don't
Yes.
want people to see me less than or weaker. So, in order for me to do that, I have to put this wall up and make people think that I'm a certain person when I'm really, truly not.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's a second definition, and it's according to Oxford's definition. It also says in need of special care, support, or protection because of age, disability, or risk of abuse or neglect.
Ah,
So when you wouldn't
yeah.
even think about this particular definition because it
No.
really does. Being vulnerable actually can tell people that, you know what, I need help and it's okay.
Yeah,
I need help. I need special attention.
yes.
Got a question?
Yeah. Well, no, I was gonna say what you just said is, isn't that hard for women to ask? It's hard for me.
Yes.
It's hard for me to, I guess, to be vulnerable, like you're saying. I, I would just do it myself than having to ask. Now, I
Right.
have grown from that, and I'm still working on that, and I do ask. But I think a lot of it with me is that I'll just get it done myself. I'll just do
Yeah.
it.
Right,
Right.
right. Absolutely. And that's one thing that I was thinking about. As I was kind of preparing, I started reading back into this definition, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so if there is a possibility that we can be vulnerable, but actually display that we need help, it actually is a strength. So we're thinking that we're showing a weakness, but we're actually showing a strength. Because, in all honesty, to me, when I recognize what vulnerability means to me, I'm actually going into deeper into myself and identifying who I truly am, not the facade I've been putting up all along, not accepting the title or the expectations that other people placed on me, because I got people around me who rely on me and they say that you are so strong that you can do
Yes.
anything. And I
Yes.
begin to believe that, and I begin to walk in that image. Well, the whole concept of embracing you is basically saying, okay, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to embrace all of this weakness, what I think is weakness, and I'm going to face it. I'm going to acknowledge it.
You know what you just
That's
said?
how you determine your strength.
What you just said is, how did you just say it? That I'm just going to embrace this weakness. But one of the things that I have recognized for myself is, who said it was weakness? Like,
Mm.
where did that stem from? Where did that stigma stem from? That when you cry, you're weak. When you ask
Right.
for help, you're weak. And I guess maybe traditionally, from the cultures, maybe you're raised with
Mhm.
that sense of, if you cry, you
Right.
weak, or if you ask for help, we weak, that kind of thing.
Right.
And we can get into that later, but I think what you're saying is, we need to get out of our own heads thinking that that is a weakness, when
Right.
actually being that vulnerable is a strength, to
It is.
recognize those type of things. Now, I'm saying that now, but a few years ago, I probably wouldn't have.
Yeah.
And it's so funny you bring that up about strong friends. When you and I and Tiffany had our date night
Mhm.
at Manny's, that's one of the things that we had talked about, is that, pick up the phone and call each other if we have a challenge, or we feel like the life is attacking us and we don't
Mhm.
have anybody to talk to. It's the strength comes through that, to even reach out and say,
Right.
I need help. I need someone to talk to.
Right. Just acknowledging the fact that, you know what, I wasn't created to be perfect. I wasn't created to be the strongest person. I wasn't created to allow all the things that come in life to be placed on my shoulders. I wasn't created. Now, what I was created to do was push, which means that
Mm-hmm.
adversity can come my way, but I can push. But there's no rule at all that says that I can't ask for help. As a matter of fact, that's the purpose of God. Why are we walking around acting as if we don't need help when we were created with a God who said, I'm here to help you? So
Mm-hmm.
that lends to the truth of the fact that we have to ask for help. We have to lean on people. That's why we need each other. That's why we have each other, because
Mm-hmm.
we need to be in a position to ask for help. And
Mm-hmm.
so being vulnerable is that's exactly what I mean, is that you actually get to see who you really and truly are when you are vulnerable. When you are not vulnerable, you're walking in an image, a fake
Mm-hmm.
image that you created for yourself, an image that your husband, your wife, your children, your coworkers, your boss, people have created this image of you when they say, well, you can handle everything, Shalonda. So I'm always going to call on you to work late and stay late and do all the extra
Yeah.
things because that's who you are. And so
Yeah.
you begin to believe that. When
Right.
actuality, I don't have to be all of that for you. As a matter of fact, I need to learn what I need to be for me first. And then I can lend myself to other people.
That is so true. We have a tendency to meet others' expectations and not our own, because we
Right.
feel like we have to, and that's not true.
It's not
That
at
that is so
all.
not true.
It's
And
not at all.
over the years, I have learned a lot of that. That people pleasing, this just makes you miserable, because you'll never meet those expectations, because you're not meeting your own expectations.
Right. And in
Right.
the process, you are draining
Yes.
yourself. And the more that you drain yourself, you
Yes.
lose yourself.
Right.
You lose identity. And I think about, I was studying one time and I was thinking about, I don't have children, but I imagined parents who have children and they have that empty, what is it called? Empty nest
Empty
syndrome.
nesting. Yes.
So
Yes.
they've been mother, they've been
Yes.
father, they've been
Yes.
soccer mom, soccer
Right.
dad, they've been
Yeah.
birthday party planner, they've been all these different things. But
Mhm.
then when kiddos move away, then they're left in this empty house
Mhm.
with no identity.
Right. That's
What
good.
what do we do? What do I do
Yeah.
now?
Who am I? What am I supposed to be
All
doing?
of who I
Yeah.
was in that child.
Mhm.
So if you take a step back, become vulnerable and recognize I'm not supposed to be everything at all times.
Mm.
Let me embrace who I really and truly am, the weakest part of me, so that I
Mhm.
can rely on other people. And then I can actually be my true self around people. And I can
Right.
actually be confident and say, you know what? No, I can't help you with that, but I can do this. That's when
Yeah.
no's become more frequent.
And you know what? It's so funny because I used to have a problem saying no. I was a yes girl for a long time, and I had recognized that. And so I'm always like, no, but this is what I can do.
Absolutely.
And people are more accepting when you tell them what you can do versus that no. However, there's times I'm like, that's a hard pass. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a no for me, and that's my answer, and
Absolutely.
that's my
And think
final
about this,
answer.
Michelle. And think about this, Michelle. The moment that you recognize that you can say no to people, there are going to be some people that won't comprehend it, that won't understand it, that
Girl,
will judge you as
girl,
a result of it. But you
girl.
know what? The moment that you come into who you really and truly are and you say no, you start removing those people out of your
Yes,
life. And you talk
yes,
about people that you don't know who to trust and you don't know who to talk to because you really can't trust those people because all
that's right.
they're doing is leeching off of you. But you're actually, when you come into your true self, you're alleviating, you're removing those people out of your life and you're making room. People don't think about the fact that the people that are leeching off of you are literally crowding your life. They're
Yes,
not, you want people that you can trust. But how are you going to be able to bring people in your life? The good people, the trustworthy people, the stable minded people. How are you
yes,
going to make room for them if all you do is say yes to all the leeches?
right.
Start saying no. Once you know who you really and truly
And
are,
watch them
watch them
disappear.
leave.
Watch them
And
leave.
then
Watch them.
the
Yeah.
right people begin to
Yes.
just fall into place. The people that you really know you can trust, the people
Right.
that you can actually call and speak about your vulnerabilities and your weaknesses and ask for help and not and
Right.
know that you're not going to be judged.
Right.
I think about that all the time. I'm like, you got to make room for people. And if you
And,
don't
and
make
you
room for people,
and with that being said, God constantly send those people to you. And it's
mhm,
really up to you
yes,
to make room for them to
make
do that.
room.
But if you're fooling around with the yes people that oh she'll do it, oh she'll do it, oh she'll do
Mhm,
it, she'll come, then you never see that. You never see that coming. So
right.
really quick, because now we're at this time. Um, tell me just a little bit, or tell the audience just a little bit about your event coming up called Embrace You that's coming up in March 2022. Just give us a little bit about how that came about and what you were thinking, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it on the second episode.
Yeah, absolutely. So embrace you. Oh my goodness. It was a word that I received one day when I recognized that I was going through a breakup and I found myself feeling disconnected and lost.
Mm,
And I again, we're talking about strong women and you want
mhm.
to put on that face, you still got to go to work.
Yep.
You know, when you're feeling that pain, you still got to do your normal, you still got to be there for family, you still got to
Yep.
be there for friends, you
Right.
still have responsibilities. And so it was challenging for me because I wanted to put on that face.
Hmm.
But then I heard God say, embrace. Embrace every feeling that you're feeling right now. Embrace every emotion that you're experiencing right now. Embrace it because it's purposeful. It's
Mm,
necessary because the only way that you're going to be able to move from point A to B to C is if you recognize what's placed in front of you. God allows things, but you have to accept them. Regardless of what the pain feels like,
mm,
regardless of the discomfort, you have to accept them. And so I began to just acknowledge the pain, cry. I cried at work one time, and I normally don't do that,
right.
but I allowed myself to cry. And I had people around me that, took care of me and were caring for me.
Good.
But it was that moment that I recognized that there are so many strong women and men sometimes
Sure.
that they
Yes.
put on this face and they choose not to embrace things that come their way when it's absolutely necessary. If it happens, it's necessary.
Mhm.
So you have to face it. And I'm gonna read this. It was actually a meme that I found, and I was like, this is on time, right on time for what I have. But it says, don't fake it till you make it. That's garbage advice. Face it till you make it. Get up, work hard, face it again, do a little better, fail again, get back up, repeat.
I like that. Face it
So
till you make it.
face it till you make
Face
it.
it till you
Because
make it.
it's supposed to happen. Because
Right.
whatever is in you needs that, whether it's to jolt you, whether it's to help you, whether it's to heal you, whether it's to correct you, whether it's to teach you, it's necessary.
Oh, girl.
I'm better as a result of it because I took the time to cry and acknowledge my
Yes.
emotions.
Yes.
I didn't fake it. I wasn't trying to put on this facade for other people to think that I have it all together when I really don't.
Mhm.
I embraced it. And so
I love this.
that's the
I love
message that
this.
I want to portray
Yes.
with Embrace You. However, it's not just my story. It's going to be a story of at least 7 other women. We will have panelists. It's going to be about a 5-hour event. It's going to be multifaceted with different types of settings, but all virtually. Throughout COVID, we're definitely going to keep it
Sure.
virtual.
Sure.
But I'm looking forward to the many, many stories and the many, many backgrounds of the women who will be sharing their stories on this panel. So there's a whole lot more I can share, but we're
Yes.
still trying to get things ironed out. But I'm super
Of course.
excited for this event.
Of course.
Yeah, so
Well, I appreciate your time tonight, and we will talk. We'll talk this week to figure out to do the episode 2, and then hopefully we'll have a couple, like I said, a couple of more guests to be on, so we could do a group chat on this. But thank you so much for your time, Shalonda. I appreciate it, and fingers crossed for me to get this uploaded.
oh, it's gonna work. It's gonna work. Embrace.
Embrace it. All right, thank you so much. Okay, guys, that's it for tonight. Once again, I want to thank my guest, Shalonda, for being my first. You are my first Zoom video episode. How cool is this?
I
So
love
the one thing I will say, I'll have this if I don't get anything else. I will
There you
definitely have
go.
this. All right, girl. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you.